Hi guys, what's going on? And welcome back to another episode of Total War Arena. So we are back with Hannibal and our Iberian rebels. So I've just been enjoying these guys more and more. They are just truly the best unit at tier 6. I just think they're absolutely awesome. So I've got them fully upgraded now from sort of the weapon, which gives obviously more weapon damage, and penetration, which is obviously quite nice. We've got the shield, obviously basically more armour, and good body armour, and not to mention the greaves give a plus 8% movement speed. I'm not going to bother with the helmet for the body armor a little bit. I didn't think it was worth it, and it's not transferable to the next unit. So now they have a base movement speed of what's that, like 4.3. Not to mention the fact they get force march at 19% and a dash at 20%. These guys are fast, and you know, it's not as if they're fast like fast and barbarians, fast but not very hard hitting. They're fast, and they are almost on par with the Romans for how hard they hit. And they really are a truly excellent unit. So, let's hop into, I've got quite an enjoyable replay I had of these guys. Let's hop into a replay and, yeah, watch a bit of a battle. So, we have loaded into our replay. Obviously on Rubicon, I spawned in on this right-hand side. It's not the side of the map I really like. I feel this side of the map has quite a big advantage in the sense that it gets this, obviously, this watchtower here. It gets full visibility from full cover, basically when the game starts. And that visibility extends all over here, so you get really good range. But we had a group of archers with us and some other spearmen, so I thought we stood a reasonable chance. So let's get things kicked off. And hopefully I start moving, which we do. So yeah, so I start to push up. I think I push through this forest here and start to push up this way. I noticed at the off, it takes quite a while for any enemies to get into this cap circle, which is kind of unusual. Most people, myself included, would go straight for the watchtower, because that's basically the first thing I want to see. You know, that takes your choices what you're going to be facing, so that's what I'd always go for that. So we start advancing across the river. Sooner or later, there they go for the watchtower. Obviously, get visibility on all of us. I move across, and our spearmen are moving up on the bridge. Archers hanging back a little bit, which is fine. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Elsewhere in the battle, looks like our light artillery didn't have a particularly favourable start, being artilleried and slingered. And there's quite a bit of enemy range kicking around at these parts of the map. I noticed these guys, which must have spawned in and around here somewhere, have decided to sort of pull back rather than go for the flag. So I would have thought that the enemy more than likely hasn't got too much stuff here, or that was my hope. And with it being a tier 6-5 game, obviously I'm largely top tier, so there's not too much I need to worry about. Pikemen and things like that. I'm actually equivalent tier enemy barbarian warriors. So they make a bit of a mistake, I felt here, in the sense that they threw their fire too far this way. They threw the fire trying to intercept me, but then one, they didn't charge into me to make me catch on the fire, and I was able to sort of go through that fire then. And while I am still taking a bit of damage on the back, quite a bit actually, I was able to push forwards enough. And then they routed with this unit, or pulled back, you know, the retreat, which allowed me to pull this unit off the flames. And then obviously I'm straight in with determination and portas, and trying to get as much damage as I can. And, you know, we're in open ground here, not exactly the barbarians' favourite territory. I'm confident I can win this fight, and you can see, look out, we're starting to really decimate these guys now. They come back in, so why they didn't keep me on the flames, I don't know. Obviously, flames died down, and now we're really in a strong position. And we've got friendly archers providing a bit of support as well. And we just start to rack up the damage. So racking up plenty of points as we do. We take some losses, but remember this is an equivalent tier unit, so killing this stuff off is actually really, you know, exactly what we want. You can see how much damage we're landing for hits. Well, 230s, 260s, 270s. You know, really good amounts of hits. And the barbarians pull out, which is fair enough. It took me a while to sort of adjust properly to that. I should have perhaps given pursuit. It didn't help I was being bombarded by this artillery. Our archers were kind of under threat by this mounted warband. So I was half inclined to, you can just leave the remainder of those guys and push in. And I decided, well, there's still quite a few of them left and they're going to try and go for these archers. So I tried to move back to intercept to help. I was a little bit slow there, and they actually caught the archers before I could get in. We get in and got a charge off our own. I think I can get stuck straight into these guys. Obviously, we don't have our ad portas back, so we can't activate that. But really, we've still got superior quality troops. We're fully upgraded, and the sandwich between spears and ourselves. There's only one way it's going to go, isn't it? And that is the end of them. Good. Apologies for the cough. I seem to have contracted something and it's lingering every time I try and talk. So yeah, so I think, right, we've got them. Most of our units are well, minimum 60% health, and we've eliminated 3 units of enemies, doing quite a lot of damage to some enemy cavalry, and gained ourselves 1400 aggression points. Let's see, Principes stood in the forest. Well, you know, who can say no to that? We've got our portas has just come back, and these guys are just perfect for what I wanted. They are massively blobbing. Why they're blobbed like this, I don't know. They should have spread themselves up a line, possibly off this building, or pulled out of the forest would have been a good start. That was a nice opportunity for me. I try and get all my units stuck in. I should have pushed this unit a bit further around. Why I pushed for this gap here rather than trying to flank this unit, I don't know. Although it has left a bit of an opening for our archers. Obviously, straight in with our porters, obviously giving us the massive weapon damage and attack and defence. Make sure my force march is off, which it is. And making use of my slams. And we're decimating pretty quickly, you know, 11,000. And we're taking pretty minimal amounts of damage. Even with their vengeance activated, you know, we get quite an increase to melee defence with that, particularly when we've got determination running at the same time. Not to mention the fact I'm using my slams to get knocked down on them, so we're just driving them back. And we've got look, the hoplites pushing in, so they don't really last very long. And we've got a bit more aggression points. And again, you know, this guy's here is obviously trying to defend his artillery. And they're not actually in a game together, but they're just you know, trying to work with him, which is fine. But why this guy then chose to fight us on his own, it's kind of like defeating detail, isn't it? If he'd either pull back to the artillery or the artillery cruiser push forwards, then it would have been 5 on 4 with the archers. So, you know, now he's on his own, and that is not very favourable for him. So yes, so our rest of our troops start to push up, and obviously things are starting to look pretty good now. I'm really pleased with how this battle's going so far, although the actual battle itself is not going so favourably. It's kind of against us. But we've got all this artillery cruiser yet to kill. You know, artillery is useful early on in the game, but once you start to get to this sort of point, their usefulness starts to drop off. I'm going to have a drink before I completely choke up. I've tried to record this twice already and I just can't stop coughing. So, yeah, so the artillery actually then wisely abandoned their engines. I think they try and recover one of them actually, but most of them get driven off. And I get stuck in with the Romans. Obviously, I engage with 2 units frontally, and I push 1 unit around the flanks. Obviously, there's no point blobbing up my units just on the front. I might as well try and flank them. At least we're not getting them the positive morale modifier anymore because they're sufficiently high. That's something I only found out the other day. You know, if you have really high morale, you get plus 10% melee attack and a little bit of melee defence. I only found that out from when I was watching Jackie Fisher's stream the other day, and he showed me that. I've never noticed that before. So having high morale actually, you know, has a meaning. So bear that in mind. If you've got morale modifiers that are going to buff you, have them on. 10% melee attack is not to be sniffed at. So yeah, good to know. So obviously we just push around because I was trying to flank these Romans so they're faced between the phalanx, and I was just trying to get them killed off as quickly as I can. And we've really started to bring this battle back into balance now. Through a combination of killing off some of these artillery, who have actually got away with 2 of their engines. I think they got to set up over here, which is actually a really good move by that artillery. I'm going to come back to haunt us later on in the game, but you know, at least that gave us a pretty good start, I feel. So we push in. What else have we got? So we've got some fire coming from this forest here. So obviously, well, we've given the arc. We know it's archers, not slingers. And there we go. We get some visibility on them. And our own slingers should be able to deal with them without too much trouble, which they start to do. And I'm sort of pushing back to this is the enemy base. Not any units over at our base though, which perhaps I should have been wary of. But then we have got quite a lot of stuff pushing in on his base, and we're still pretty close this game, so we kind of need all the units we can. I see we've got these 2 units, double units of pikemen going against these disconnected principes. Somehow I don't think they get their pikes down on one of their units quite right. But I decide, well, there's no point going for that because as soon as they get their pikes down, if I come in on them, I'm only going to be attracting friendly fire. So disconnected unit, I'll leave them to my own guys. So then I was thinking about these 2 units of disconnected principes here. But disconnected units are kind of easy to outmaneuver and stuff. And I felt that what's the point in fighting them head on? They're not really a threat to any of us. They're not even in Testudo. Look, I mean, this is the problem with disconnected players. How the game works doesn't really work very well. And I thought the main threat probably is this artillery. 2 units of tier 6 heavy artillery can do quite a lot of damage. Well, are doing quite a lot of damage. You know, they're racked up 2,500 aggression points already. So I decided, let's go for them. They're undefended. They've got no stakes. You know, this is really what we need to be going in for the kill. And look how close this game is. We're actually now losing again. So yes, I continue to move up. Oh dear. So we continue to move up, going for these guys over here. These archers then sacrifice themselves. I guess they're trying to give their artillery crews time, maybe, to escape. which I do. I kill them off. I don't run through them. Oh, just a short cough-related intermission, but we're back. So yeah, so I get into these guys. They just accept the game is up. I'm surprised they didn't try and disassemble one of these units, or at least run it with the crew. And we just finished off these two crews. Really not much of an issue. I use a slam here, I think. Yeah, in fact, a slam, just because obviously the slam gives them that minus 50% movement speed. So yeah, again, out of all the strikes to have, slam is, you know, bar hamstring, but that's only on Falxman. Ham is a ham. Slam is really one of the best strikes to have. I absolutely love it because that movement speed debuff of the enemy is so useful. And that's normally a barbarian only ability, but the fact that's coming on to these Carthaginian units is great. And yeah, definitely the strike to have. So we then get these guys here. Obviously not got a lot of missile block chance with these Carthaginians. They don't have any shield screen or anything available to them. They only have, I think it's like 44 possibly. It will be 44. I've got Force March on. So I decided to take my losses and just go with Force March, because if I'm ever going to catch these guys, I'm going to need it. So I decided to activate it. Trying to keep my dash activated when I can remember, to keep pressure on these guys. Then foolishly stop to shoot at these slingers, but of course that means it gives me time to catch up. And I'm borderline as quick as these guys, if not a little bit quicker. The benefit of the speed of these Carthaginians, you know, particularly when you're getting a continually cycling dash around the corner. I think I might go for one more dash. Trying to get in range, because we've also got a charge with these tier 6s, which we didn't have at tier 5. I think I might then decide, let's go for it. I go for the charge. They go for a dash as well, but we managed to catch at least a good chunk of them at the back. I was having an argument whether just to run past and keep going, but I decided there's quite a few here to kill, so as they stand up, I hang around and make sure we get all the damage in on that. Lovely, lovely damage. Good amount of damage to these archers. I then get caught in a bit of a line against these enemy spearmen. Wasn't quite how I intended, because obviously I don't want to be just running into them frontally, but they were playing their game quite well as well, because they were backing off and turning around as they came, so it kind of meant they were defending their archers pretty well. So in the end I just went for sort of the long run. I decided to run some of my units, clip it, you know, which I take full damage for, but it does that. The archers run, and I think, right, let's just get rid of these stupid spearmen, because they're racking quite a bit of damage on me, but I then get them surrounded. Of course, brilliantly for me, I then go for the stun, which obviously not only does a lot of damage, but drops their movement speed. And then I activate add portas, because they're really the last threatening enemy unit on the battlefield, so there's no reason to use it. And, well, you can see how quickly they get cut to pieces. And the archers then, I don't know why they stopped when it was obviously so close that those spearmen were going to lose their fight and they should run. But that pretty much spells the end, at least for the bulk of them. I think some of them might escape. Again, trying to keep my strikes on them. You know, getting the stun modifier on them, and just trying to kill as many as we can as they rout. Really kill the bulk of them. I think a few of them end up surviving, because just don't have enough units to catch them all and kill them all quick enough. But we're really starting to rack up some experience now. 4,700 aggression. And we've still got a few units left alive. Obviously I'm keeping my Force March on. Got to be careful, remember, Force March does have a morale negative modifier. So if you get really low and you start wavering, you may want to consider turning Force March off, or you might rout. Obviously, you do get that missile defense and the melee defense debuff when you've got Force Marched on. But when you're fighting units like archers, it doesn't really matter. I should have turned Force March off here for these Romans, because obviously it ruins my charge deflect. I might not have taken quite so much damage there. But we then end up killing these guys so quickly. I think I just completely forgot to turn off Force March. Sometimes it can be a little bit challenging to remember. I think we then get the last kill on that guy, which we do. And then, thankfully, we've got enough ranged units remaining just to finish off these enemy archers, these tier 6 Lesbos archers, giving us a bit of trouble. And then I think we're basically left a couple of slingers and those Roman. Are they Romans? Might be the ones that are disconnected, possibly. Or have only got a handful of units left. It looks like the battle's now well in our favour. I don't think we necessarily do anything else but cap out. So let's just go into slightly fast forward just till we make it to the end. Oh, our last archer met his match. Yeah, I think it's just a couple of units left remaining. Oh, a couple of gladiators. I don't think they're going to fare particularly well against vast numbers of... no, they did not fare very well at all. And that is pretty much the game. Ultimately, we are just going to cap out. It takes a little bit of a while for it to plod on. Then the gladiators chasing off our own infantry. I mean, it's really to no avail. They're not going to be able to catch them in time. Maybe there's some of our guys go out the circle here. Yeah, which resets a lot of the cap. which was kind of annoying, but it did give us time to gain quite a few capture points, of course, which I wasn't actually complaining about. Particularly just turned into quite a good game. And ultimately, I think we make it to just over 8,000 experience, which was really great. Risk of 5 times this may cause the replay to go a bit laggy, but hopefully not. And there we go. We secure victory. So yeah, I had a really good game with those guys, but it's not. I don't find it's like just I'm getting good one-off games with them. I'm finding they're being pretty consistently good. You know, they've just got that. They're really good, solid units in terms of their aggression, which is really nice. They're really strong, powerful units. I like the melee defense buff they get with portas as well. You know, makes them really a powerful unit. But combined with that, it's the speed that really gives them the flexibility, because that gives you the choice of where to fight. You know, if you're with the Roman, say, Armoured Legionaries at this tier, you're so slow, you know, if you're using them with Germanicus, you really have to pick your direction and sort of stick with it. These guys, you know, you can send one unit back to base if there's nothing on the flank, or there's too much on the flank, you can pull back, go the other way. You know, it really gives you options. You are pretty much the fastest infantry unit on the battlefield. So, thanks for watching this video, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, please could you give the video a like. As I say before, you know, it really does help the channel out. It's one of the best things you can do. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've got lots more Total War Arena content and other Total War games. And thanks, guys. I shall see you all on the next episode.